Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Volume. Welcome in and warning to headphone users everywhere.
Hello!
First time Nick's been the loudest on this podcast.
Yeah.
I cut it down to a whispered yell too.
That's why we have mics.
Welcome
How's
to the
everybody doing
Broccoli
today?
Horror Picture Show.
Woo!
Doing great.
We're surviving.
Yeah.
Surviving.
Yeah.
How was everybody's travels?
Good. I was in Florida for 10 days visiting my in-laws, and it was amazing because I escaped the freezing cold weather. It wasn't freezing here, but it was not warm in Pennsylvania while I was gone. And it was the day I got there, it was 74 degrees and sunny. It was heavenly. Saw some of Matt's cousins. Got a little too drunk a couple nights. I got into a verbal argument with women in a bathroom, which I've never done before in my life.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to Florida, baby.
Yeah.
I was in the bathroom and I took 3 minutes in the bathroom at this bar, and they were standing outside the door screaming about this one girl was lying to the other woman about how she'd been standing there for 10 minutes. She had not. And I just felt like it was such injustice how rude they were being. And there were only 2 people. Wow. It wasn't even a line. Anyway, and I yelled at them.
Good
What
for
did you say?
I said,
how'd you lay it down?
Well, I said, you fucking bitch. They just were so, and I said, when I came out, they were clearly so embarrassed because I wasn't a drunk girl. I was just someone that was using the bathroom. And I looked them in the face and I was like, yeah, you're so embarrassed right now. And then they didn't say anything back because they were. And then I said, you fucking bitch. And I left.
Damn.
Were you drinking, just not drunk, or were you stone cold sober?
I wasn't later I was drunk. I think after that I was a little adrenaline going through me. But at that point I'd only had a few drinks. I thought they thought I was a group of girls dilly-dallying, but I was just taking a moment for myself.
Yeah.
And they were really slamming on the door and screaming. So
let a woman have her peace.
It was really, really Florida of me, you guys, to scream at some strangers.
Hey, proud of you.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Kristen and I sidebarred, and we're definitely proud of you.
Yeah.
Guys, wow, thanks.
I'm writing this down on your report card and giving you an A+.
Thank you.
Became Florida woman.
I'm not confrontational with strangers, but I cannot stand for injustice. And that's what I felt like that was.
Yeah.
Did you guys get into any fights in your travels?
Not fights. I will say there was a pretty funny conundrum me and Pat had while we were in Virginia this weekend. And that was that we went to Shenandoah National Park. Beautiful, absolutely insane views. We pulled off to do a hike, and I was like, I don't want to do a really long hike, so we'll just do the short one. And Pat said, hey, there's this one that's an amateur hike, and it's a mile and a mile back. And we did not know that the mile up was in fact up. So we took us 40 minutes to hike a mile because it was straight up the side of a mountain. And then we got to the top and it was beautiful. We hiked all the way back down, and I looked at the map in the car and it just said, oh, Hawksbill Summit, the highest point in the park at over 4,000 feet.
Oh my God.
And we looked at each other and went, oh, okay, so maybe that's not amateur.
Yeah, you felt a little better about being winded after that.
Yeah, we were really man, we must be absolute wimps. And we came back down. We were like, oh yeah, maybe it's because we climbed like 800 feet in elevation during
like, no, we're super strong, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no bar arguments. Really, no bars. So I couldn't speak to that.
Well, you fought that mountain and you won.
I did.
Yeah. She looked at that mountain and she said, "You fucking bitch."
You fucking bitch.
I said, yeah, you're not going to say anything.
You're so embarrassed, mountain. Nick, what about you?
I went home to Philly for a surprise party for my dad. But my dad's
Woo!
birthday's in May. We won't talk
Happy
about
early
that.
birthday.
Naturally.
That's how you surprise him. And then this past weekend, I went out to Utah, and Sadie and I saw some friends in Salt Lake City.
Nice.
How
How
was
was Salt
that?
Lake City?
It was beautiful. We left North Carolina, went out to cold, dry mountain air, came back to 86, humid, and pollen everywhere. So it was quite the
Was it a
turnaround.
Was it a relief getting in the heat, or what did you prefer the mountain air?
I missed the heat when I was there, and then as soon as I got back, I missed the mountain air.
You
We're
always
never
want what you
happy.
don't
This
have.
This was my driveway last night. That's the pollen and the storm water.
No.
Oh my god.
So we have the Mexico filter hanging over.
Oh my
Everywhere you go, it
God.
just looks like a yellow haze.
It's official. The seasons are changing.
Yeah.
It is, my parents are coming down this upcoming weekend, and it's going to be like 85, 86 the whole time they're here.
Whew.
Just like,
Nice.
it's not early April weather that I'm used to.
No.
Mm-mm.
Meanwhile,
But
here it was beautiful, and now it's cold.
back to,
Again.
fake spring 1.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, fake spring like 3 at this point, right?
Yeah.
And there was a crazy thunderstorm last night too. The lightning was wild.
Yeah.
That'll make it feel like summer.
That's I had my windows
Uh,
open when the storm started. Crazy mistake.
First of the
Could not have
season,
closed them
couldn't have
faster.
known.
I was driving back from a class and I could see lightning flashing behind me. Like the storm was coming up behind me as I was pulling home.
Ooh, no.
Made
like
it
Nope.
though. Made it before it rained.
I'm glad.
But yeah, after all this traveling and gross air, I am feeling a little sick. So no better movie than The Princess Bride for that.
Ultimate comfort movie.
Ultimate sick day. Where's my grandpa?
Yeah, where is he?
Honestly, I'm gonna start out with this. Fred Savage is probably the most relatable character in this movie
Yeah.
for me. Just that kid that just like wants to play video games. His grandpa comes in and wants to read him a story, and he's like,
Nah.
"Get out of here!"
Where are the sports?
And then he's like, "They kiss or what?"
Every time I go like a length of time without watching this movie, I forget that that's like the basis of it, is that it's grandfather telling his story to his grandson. And every time I start it, I'm bewildered. It shocks me every single time.
Starts out with the video games, and you're like, "What movie is this? Did I put the wrong
Yeah.
Princess Bride?"
Yeah.
It's also like, it starts out with so much of them in the room, and then by the end of it, you like barely see them. Like it
Mhm.
really gets away from
Yeah.
that quickly. But it's always shocking to me how cute Fred Savage is as a child.
He's
Yeah.
a really cute kid. And
He's
great
like-
comedic timing.
Unbelievable. He's just like, he has such almost like a difficult part for a kid to play, in that like there's no physical acting. It feels like with kids often they really lean on physical acting so much, and he's just like stand and like lay and deliver lines. That's all he has.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you think he
All
got
in his
all of
face.
his stuff done in one day?
Yeah,
All
what
of
did he
his
make for that
scenes.
one day?
Right. What's he still making? Because is he getting royalties, you know?
I feel like
My
Rob
God.
Reiner would treat him good.
I'd hope so.
I think so. I once saw an interview with him that for a while I think he directed Hannah Montana episodes. And I need to I actually should fact check this before I tell the story. But
Rob
I saw him
Reiner
on a
or Fred
podcast.
Savage?
Not Rob Reiner, Fred Savage.
I had to be sure.
Fred Savage, and he like told a whole story about how he didn't take it seriously, and he would be like, "Oh, I'm fucking directing Hannah Montana. This doesn't matter." And then when he started like taking it seriously, he actually found joy in his work again, directing Hannah Montana.
He found himself through Hannah Montana.
He did. I'm just gonna
He got the best of both worlds.
Please don't look that up because I'm gonna choose to blindly believe that.
I'm 99% sure I'm right, which is why I didn't check it before. Yeah.
Whenever I see him, I think of the other movie I was gonna do, which is Austin Powers.
Mm.
And in Goldmember, he just has the giant mole on his face.
No.
So I just like he has like a phantom mole in my head, like a phantom limb. It's just like I picture it there even when it's not.
No, thanks.
The whole time I was thinking of Carrie. How do you say his last name?
Elwes.
Elwes. Yeah. I think about how he's in Saw. I was thinking about it the whole time I was watching this movie.
I think about him in Psych when I see him because he's a recurring character on Psych.
Oh.
Wow.
I think about him as, wow, this guy is so fucking hot.
Do tell us more.
This movie starts out with them on the farm, and they look like fake people. And neither of them could possibly be real. Robin Wright and Cary Elwes, it's like, how is anyone straight?
Yeah.
Except for the two of them for each other.
Barely.
If this was made today, they'd be getting AI allegations for sure.
And they would never beat them.
Never.
But yeah, it's so good to just start this movie out with like this little farm scene that you're like, okay, this is kind of what the movie's gonna be. And then it's just never that for the rest of the movie. They don't even it doesn't even really it lays like a tiny bit of groundwork, but they're like, we gotta get going. This movie cannot be long.
And I like that the whole movie's based on us. I'm sure we'll get into this more, based on us believing that like 1 minute scene of how in love they are. And the whole rest of the movie is based on like, no, now we believe these two are soulmates. I don't need any further evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, obviously this whole movie, like part of the bit is how over the top it is.
Yeah.
But like that part is so over the top. The stares that they're giving each other, the like long cuts of them just like staring at each other is not even, it's creepy. Like it's not even good love story. It's just like, you get it. They didn't even try for it. They were like,
sure he can speak any other words in English besides that?
Honestly, we don't know.
Do we want to do first
and I just keep
impression?
getting caught on the whole time that his name is Westley.
Yeah. As an aunt to a Wesley, confusing.
Too confusing.
Yeah, I don't know any Westleys, but
Okay, well, tell us your first impression first of this film before we dive in.
Oh, okay. The same thing as you with the Mummy. I don't have one. There's not a time before this movie in my brain.
Kristen?
I know I watched this when I was younger, but this fell under not as interesting to me because there were no animals really in it as the main plot. Well, I mean, I don't know. I was
Except
very
for the
much
rodent of unusual size.
Correct.
It couldn't be in your S tier. It had to stay in your A tier because not enough animals.
Yeah. But I did always like it. It was just never on the front of the rotation.
Yeah.
I didn't really appreciate it until I was older, I feel like. How about you,
Emma?
This was my first time seeing it all the way through. I've seen like bits and pieces and scenes, and I feel like there's so many quotes from this movie that you hear all the time that I feel like I just started accepting the quotes, like not knowing fully what they meant, just kind of being like, yeah, this is funny. This is funny though, so I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah, this is what humor is.
I get it. This is people like this, so I like it too. But then now I saw it and I did like it, so now I understand.
There are two people I know that call this movie their favorite of all time. One is my mother, and the other is Ted Cruz.
Okay.
Oh my god. Please tell me you didn't
So,
tell your mother that.
oh, she's acutely aware of that.
Okay. Ooh.
We take 1 week off, we're off the rails.
And this is also a favorite of America's Zodiac Killer, in case you didn't know. This man ate my son, and he also loves The Princess Bride.
This man ate my Humperdinck.
Humperdinck. Oh my god, I gotta talk about that name. Okay.
Humperdinck.
So he leaves. So Wesley leaves.
Yeah, this movie could be completed entirely in quotes, the recap.
Why don't you just recite it? Why don't you just give it to us all the way
line for
through?
line?
Yeah.
The sword fighting scene would be fun.
Ching, ching, ching.
This whole podcast is going to be us talking and then us randomly going, so Wesley leaves. And we never get past this part of the movie.
So anyway, he leaves.
Yeah, actually, Wesley leaves on a boat. He gets attacked, and you learn that he's just gone. Pirates got him. That's what the narrator tells you. You actually never hear that he dies, except for Fred Savage's character yelling, "So he's dead," and then no response. But it's kind of assumed that he died there. But we get a cut to Humperdinck, and we learn the other side of this story after the time jump, which is Buttercup is now a princess, and she'll be marrying the prince. She's at the castle. She goes on a little horse ride. And this is where you finally get to meet the infamous trio. Did you guys have any impressions here of the Wallace Shawn, Mandy Patinkin, and Andre the Giant trio? I mean, like I said, for me, these people are just like parts of my life, but
I didn't know it was Mandy Patinkin until I went to confirm if it was Andre the Giant on IMDb. And then I saw it was Mandy Patinkin, and I couldn't believe it was him. Like, even knowing it's him, it doesn't look like him to me.
It feels so outside of who he is now and like who he's been over the last few decades since then. Yeah. But it's so fun to just watch him this entire movie and then find out, is that Mandy Patinkin?
I have the opposite relationship with him, where everything he does now, he's always been Inigo Montoya in my head. So it's like, what is this? Mm-hmm. Who is this man? Every single time, it never fails to shock me that he's not yelling about a six-fingered man.
Also, I saw in the credits that it was Robin Wright's first movie. It said introducing Robin Wright. I thought that was pretty cool that she hadn't done anything before this. And then I can't even imagine how beautiful the general public thought she was, seeing her for the first time in this film. Unreal. Yeah. Especially that red dress has to be the most beautiful she looks.
I'd imagine there was like an audible reaction in movie theaters when you saw her for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
People were gasping.
Absolutely gasping. That's what my mom says.
The first quote that I
was off topic.
Constantly say from this movie is when they're on the boat. Do you know which one it is? Andre the Giant. It says, I fucking love this movie. No more rhymes now. I mean it. Then Andre the Giant goes, "Anybody want a peanut?"
I love Andre the
so
Giant.
Fucking good.
I love him so much.
Cutest part of this whole movie.
What else do we get here? Oh, we get the boat scene. You kind of get a glimpse into like Buttercup's actual personality for the first time here when there's the eels and they're being followed. Another great line. Just grew up saying this all the time. Andre the Giant just says, "I only doggy paddle."
Which also a great image to think about.
I feel like there's so much throwaway here. That's just like literally just them riffing. And then it's just like move to the next thing.
But they need to establish them, you know?
But we finally get to the cliffs. The cliffs is where you finally start to get like a plot here. You see that there's actually somebody like aggressively following them, that's hunting them, that seems to be very capable. At this point, are you guys rooting for them to get caught, or do you feel like it's like a dangerous thing tracking them?
I don't know if I thought about it. I just was kind of like, well, if they get caught, we'll see what they do. If they don't, good for them.
Yeah, I feel like the only one I don't like is I don't even remember his name, the short
Sorry, I have
one.
no volume. I don't know
Wallace
why.
Shawn.
Yeah, him. He was only one like I kind of didn't like, but again, I I feel the same, Kristen. I don't have anything to add to that. I don't know why I'm still talking.
Mm.
Same.
Why? Who are you? Oh,
Oh,
I had a fun time having no volume that entire time.
oh no!
oh, good, because I was rambling and it was not. Oh.
And now we're echoing through you.
Yeah.
Everybody, shut up.
Is that better?
Hold on. Check. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I had to take, for some reason it just stopped playing through my headphones. That's why I just like kept running through the plot without saying anything, because I was like, I realized I couldn't hear you.
You could have held up a hand. We would have stopped.
No, I didn't realize it until I had asked a question, because I had done like all the quotes and everything, and I was like, wow, they really don't care about these quotes.
We were acknowledging them.
No, I just didn't realize I couldn't hear anything. So I was like, that's dead silence. I'm bombing out here.
Bombing.
You're standing
They
at the
hate
mic.
me.
There's just crickets. Damn.
I'm starting to get the flop sweats.
That's my new band name, actually.
Where do you want to take it from?
The cliffs is really the last thing I'd asked the question there, and I was just curious what you guys like. Do you like this trio, or do you feel like they're villains?
I don't know. I think the only one that's kind of the real outlier is Wallace Shawn's character. What the hell is his name? I forget.
Vizzini.
Vicini, there you go. He's the only one that I'm really like not rooting for. Because the other two are just so likable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, if just for going through the cast a little bit. Vizzini is Wallace Shawn, Andre the Giant is Fezzik, and then everybody knows who Inigo Montoya is.
Well, now we do.
If you don't, you didn't see the movie. But I mean, they all seem likable almost immediately, like we talked about with like the rhyming stuff, and they like clearly are just goofy guys who are getting bullied by some little dwarf man, Wallace Shawn. But the first time you really start to like get to know them is their each individual fight or battle with Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to the top of the cliffs, it's the second best scene in this movie is the sword fight you get here. You kind of learn about Inigo Montoya's whole backstory and how he's looking for a six-fingered man.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get one of the most fun little choreographed fights in pretty much anything I've ever seen. The three great parts that come out of this are that I'm not left-handed, neither am I. You seem a decent fellow, I hate to kill you. You seem a decent fellow, I'd hate to die.
Yeah.
And then my favorite, who are you? I must know.
You do it so well.
As lines just like was said in my household so many times growing up, everybody just, I must know.
The left-handed comment always catches me off guard because I go,
good.
I go, that's a slight to my people, but okay.
Yeah, how dare you think he's left-handed?
As a first-time watcher, I couldn't believe, again, as I said in the beginning, Wesley only sang "As You Wish" pretty much in the first intro. I could not believe what a sassy boy he is during this whole movie. I thought he was going to be like the really stoic, like, I'm trying to get my woman back. No, he's not that at all. And this
No,
is when you see it here for the first time.
there's definitely some like Monty Python influences in certain things that he does,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
flip he does when he throws the sword to the side and just starts doing gymnastics on that.
This dude's breakdancing during a sword fight.
But yeah, he definitely like is a way more comedic character in this movie than you expect him to be, just based on his look. And like this movie is like incredibly silly, but like only in splashes. Like it's not consistently wildly silly. It's like almost has a serious tone to it a lot of the time, but then there's just random moments where you're like, that was like the goofiest thing I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, like, I guess, type of movie. Like, I love the Monty Python influences. I love
Mhm.
the random bits of absurdity. It keeps you paying attention. It keeps you really honed into the plot the whole time, which I feel like for a kids movie you don't expect. At
Yes, it
least,
had
yeah, go ahead.
totally. It has a real plot that you are interested in and following that keeps you engaged when it's serious, but then it has these incredibly funny moments that are just like genuinely laugh out loud moments
Mhm.
throughout.
Just goofy.
Just silly guys.
Mhm.
Do you guys consider this action adventure or rom-com? Because those
Ac-
two genres don't really exist in the same world. I feel like
Mm.
outside, like they kind of toe the line here, but like outside of this movie, that's not really a genre that overlaps that much.
I
I
would say
would,
Pirates of the Caribbean's like the modern mix of romance and that, but I would still say
yeah.
action and adventure for both if I
Yeah,
were
Mm.
to choose.
I feel
Mhm.
like Pirates has to be. It's just this movie gets so goofy, and because it's by nature kind of a kids movie that it's like a little different. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I think that's a great call is Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's so different because Pirates of the Caribbean feels like a big epic, whereas this feels like a small budget almost, even though it's not
Yeah.
like that small of a budget, just comparatively.
Well, I was gonna compare, like, we had just talked about The Mummy, and it
Mhm.
Mhm.
feels like, well, that's more for older audiences, and it's this big epic, and this is feels scaled back in terms of that. So having a love story in it, but also being so action adventure forward,
Yeah,
it does, like you're saying, toe the line.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does.
It's just like it's so comedic in nature, and like when you think back on it, you think of the comedy that I don't know that I think of that with the other ones necessarily. Like obviously there's funny scenes, but it's just I don't know. It exists in like its own little world to me, and part of that is just because it's one of the first movies I like remember in my life.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Even though I
another,
do
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just moving ahead. Go
Oh, um, oh no, now I lost my train of thought.
ahead.
You do think you
Continue, I forgot. It probably wasn't important.
We'll get back to it at some point. Everything moves in circles in this podcast.
It's
Um,
true.
you get to the next goofy scene, which is the fun little fist fight between Andre the Giant and Carrie Ellis that
Yes.
never fails to make me laugh every single time. Just him complaining that he's not used to fighting one person, but instead groups of people, and that's why he's losing the fight.
That's why he's off his game.
It's so hilarious in principle that,
Oh
like,
yeah,
you're so used to just having so many enemies to fight that one is throwing you off.
yeah. One little fella.
One little feller. Although one little feller would be Wallace Shawn. So, so
One
true.
medium fella.
Mhm.
Um, after this, you learn they're being tracked. You know that it's the prince and his people. Uh, and that's just a little. They just kind of sprinkle that in there just so you can so when it happens later, you're not like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of drop it in for you, and then you get maybe the best scene in the movie. No, probably third best scene in the movie, which is the wine drinking scene
Mm-hmm.
with just another absolutely incredible set of quotes.
I feel like
The
this
first
is
one,
I feel like this is the second most quoted thing under Inigo Montoya, personally.
yes, the first one is not that. The first one he says is, "Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates?
Yes.
Yes? Idiots or morons." Just with Wallace Shaw's little lisp is everything he says is so good. I think Inconceivable is one. I think
Mhm.
Inigo Montoya is two, and then I think you fell victim to one of the most classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this: never go in against the Sicilian when death is on the line.
I can tell how many times you watched this movie because the way you're quoting it is coming from your soul so deep.
The inflections are great.
They are.
Yeah.
They
It's
are.
not just what they say, it's how they say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the inconceivable, but also the way you say the C, it's inconceivable. Like you say
Mhm.
Barcelona.
Ibiza.
Ibiza, yeah.
Inconceivable.
See?
It's too good.
There's another part that we already passed, but he's like, I do not think that word means what you think it means.
Yeah. You keep saying that word.
It's so good. Yeah, I mean that trio, may for my money, that's the most underrated trio of any three things of all time. Is those three people and all of their scenes together.
Okay.
I always remember them as in the movie more, but Vizzini's out of the movie like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came up quick because that scene I had like out of context, and I was surprised how early it was in the movie.
So, as far as we understand it, Wesley just kills him here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a chance they don't really do any for all the action and fighting in this movie. They don't really do much or any death really.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of the one like it's like Jet in Avatar.
Yeah.
You just kind of know he's dead. You just kind of know
Yeah.
that the death scene happened.
What an insane pull, by the way.
I'm
Yeah.
smiling, but I've never seen it.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
You've got a great watch ahead of you at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be.
I'm pretty
But,
reliable of missing childhood things.
You
Childhood.
were-
Nothing if not consistent.
That's true.
We get our. This is the first. After this, we get the chat between Wesley and Buttercup, and that's the first time that you really get that like venomous tongue from him, like really shining through. Is him like trying to rile her up.
Yeah.
I think this part's pretty weird, and like
I have to agree.
kind of misplaced.
Yeah.
He
I-
I get what
goes to backhand her.
I get what they're going for with it, but yeah, it's out of control.
Hey, cut that out, actually.
Cut the
No.
shit, Wesley. No, he's like, there's a point where he could have like dropped the act, and he like plows right through that and keeps going for another like 2 whole minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the way she pushes him down the hill, and then the way that she launches herself down the hill when he yells "as you wish" is so funny.
I think about that all the time. I just randomly remembering how she just goes down that hill. Crazy.
Just
She could have
Hurls
gone.
herself.
Could have rolled down gentler. Like there was no need to violently tumble down this hill exactly how he was.
But it's another thing, it's just like the thrown in absurdity that you're not expecting. That you're like,
is.
well,
It is. And I kept worrying about him falling on his sword, even though he like was never going to. I'm like, there's no way this man's not stabbing himself on the way
Yeah.
down.
1 out of every 1,000 times you watch this movie, it just ends there.
Yeah.
He stabs himself and it's over.
Nah.
Just her crying for an hour.
Yeah.
They go into the forest. They get the fire swamp. They're being clearly tracked now. The fire swamp is probably the funniest like effects in this movie. They kind of
Mhm.
a lot of stuff that they do is like clearly fantasy and outside of their depths, but it's so far beyond their depths when they're here that it's just like hilarious. There's no way. I think so much of this movie ages well because of it was already poorly aged when it came out. Like there was no time period that this wasn't like an absurdist fantasy that it just like
Yeah.
it was made to look bad. It still looks bad, and it's just like part of the charm of it.
Yeah,
But
this one particular part, like in the fire swamp, reminds me of Labyrinth with
I
David
was
Bowie.
gonna say the same thing. I was half
It's
expecting the
so
little guys to pop out.
yes, it just that one the practical effects in the scene, the whole vibe of the scene really
Yep.
reminded me of Labyrinth, which that childhood movie did see, owned it.
didn't
That's a
see.
good one.
Oh,
We
we'll have
know
to cover it. It's
there's
so weird, Nick. It's so
there's no
weird.
there's no middle to our Venn diagram whatsoever.
Me.
Yeah, Kristen.
Hold on, me.
Oh, sorry. I meant there's no films in the middle of our Venn diagram.
Oh,
Just
sorry.
Kristen
It's
is
just
the
all
Venn
movies
diagram.
and then Kristen's our overlap. It's just lists of movies and then Kristen, smiley face in the middle of our
The Venn diagram is just a picture of Kristen's face.
yeah, just that in the middle.
Yeah.
That's so cute. We can't agree on movies, but we agree on Kristen.
Shut up.
Stop it.
Stop. But yeah, Labyrinth's a great film too.
Did you guys like really? I know this is like a common thing that people say, but did you guys really think like quicksand was going to be a bigger problem you faced? And
Oh, 100%.
I know
Never
that's
ending
like
story? Yeah.
Oh,
Horrifying.
God.
it's like a online thing that I've definitely seen before. Is people talking about how like they expected quicksand to be a bigger part of their life, and I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Maybe I thought that. I don't really remember. And I was watching this movie just now, and I was like, I was
Yeah.
definitely terrified of this quicksand,
Terrified.
this lightning sand.
Quicksand and lava. I thought were going to be much bigger problems in my life than they currently are.
You needed a shark boy.
Well, yeah. Dream, dream a dream, dream a dream.
The Rouse is not something I expected to come across in my life.
No.
The ROUS. This is definitely the funniest effects that they do in this movie. This thing is ridiculous.
I
really
like that Rouse, like you're like, oh, you mean like mouse? They're like, no.
Not even close.
No,
No.
you don't understand.
This thing is huge.
Unusual. It's so huge.
I kept thinking in this scene, like Buttercup's really not helping.
No.
She helps a little bit.
A
But-
little bit, but not as much as she could. Like this thing's big. It's not that big. Like between the two of them, if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
both put some muscle into it,
But she's a lady. She's a
could help
lady.
little. She was just half of it. She was just standing there like waiting.
Especially because they like presented her as this like she got captured because she would go out on these like horse rides alone. Like they didn't really present her as like she grew up on a farm. You didn't present her as like a girl that was gonna be like stuck in this situation. But
Damsel.
Yeah.
damsel, yeah, she does not do as much damage as she could have. Literally did the bare minimum.
She didn't do a damn thing. That's what
His shoulders all fucked up.
Yeah. He's
He does
already
look good.
batting 0.
He does look good there when he's all disheveled.
Listen, with that like his length of hair in this, I'm fucking with that. I mean, I
Yeah.
am. In this
They're
whole
like
movie.
just over the eyes. Yeah, good for him.
And
Good for
I
him.
find blonde men so weird most of the time. You know, I don't trust a full-grown blonde man adult.
Wow,
That's
after we
a,
talked so much talk about Wyatt Russell.
Yes. Oh my god. Wait, maybe I do.
It's longer haired blonde men.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe I do like blonde men. It's long hair. You're right. It can't be. I don't know. I'm reconsidering. I'm reconsidering my
Okay.
stance on blonde men now.
it just took one comment, blew up
Yeah.
your whole argument.
Kristen gave one example.
I came out of the Venn diagram to say, "Oh, hello."
I hated Hannah. Speaking of Hannah Montana, I hated her blonde boyfriend in that show,
Oh, he was
With the
creepy
blonde
looking.
brother.
Jake Ryan, which seems like our friend Ryan's type of boy. Sorry, I digress.
We should set them up.
What is he doing?
Yeah, what's he up to
doing
now?
these days? Ryan won't hear that call. She doesn't listen.
Yeah,
Ouch.
let us know if you hear that.
Yeah. Ryan, text us if you heard this.
Ryan, if you're listening, and we know you are.
We'll hide one of those for each of our friends in every pod.
Yeah. It was Mary before, now it's Ryan.
They fight the big mouse. Oh, then they get out and they find the six-finger man who's been tracing them. It's such a funny side plot of this movie. It's just like it doesn't really have anything to do with anything except for this one random other side character is obsessed with it because he killed his dad, which I guess is fairly important, but like why does all of that any of this need to be in this movie? I don't know, but the payoff's incredible.
Yeah.
That's why.
And then we get to another incredible quote, which is they take Wesley away and they bring him to the pit of despair. The pit of despair. It's so good.
The pit of despair.
Yeah, the pit of despair is just basically an ancient torture chamber. Not ancient, but medieval.
It's pretty old.
Yeah. They start torturing Wesley. Another all-time quoted scene is we get back to Buttercup and she's walking out to what seems to be her wedding day. She's being revealed to the crowd. And you get the witch of her nightmare going,
Yeah.
bow, bow, with the most obscene eyebrows anyone has ever seen, and that's coming from me.
No, you know what? She put in some work. I'll give her credit.
She really did.
I did believe it was happening for real in the beginning.
They do a good job. They don't make it feel until it's time for it to be revealed. They don't make it feel like it's gonna be a dream scene, and then once you are aware of it, it's like, oh, of course, like everything's like glowing, and it kind of makes sense. But you definitely don't see it coming until it's the moment for it to happen.
Because I believe that in this universe, there's a witch that would know about her true love. That's believable to me.
Yeah, they've set you up so far, like with all of the medieval fairy tale tropes.
Yeah,
That's why, like, the setting for me always felt believable just because none of it had to be real. And I think they really played that to their advantage.
We were right off the back of a pretty fantasy thing where they were in the fire swamp and everything, so it's definitely well placed in here too. That it feels like a fantasy movie and it feels like a little D&D-ish here.
Mm-hmm.
She then wakes up, realizes what she's done, and she tries to call off the wedding. Humperdinck and his fellas go to visit Wesley while he's being tortured in the pit of despair. And he also calls for them to clear out the forest, which leads to us getting our favorite guys back together, minus Vizzini. You find Inigo just hammered, piss drunk. always a funny touch for this movie. Which they do hint at him being a drunk earlier, but it's very funny to see somebody in this movie just blacked out. It's such a
Yeah.
weird part of it.
It's crazy how young we're like exposed to that as kids. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen depictions of people being hammered and stuff in movies throughout our whole lives, and we just kind of assume.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I I remember seeing this for the first time and just being like, good for him. Hey,
Back to the
good,
bottle.
good
Yeah,
for
they'll
him.
let children see people blacked out drunk, but the minute a whisper of the word weed is mentioned, suddenly
Or
the world is or sex.
oh yeah, see this one female nipple. It's all gone to hell.
One butt crack, not for the children.
If I see even a whiff of crack, you're getting a PG-13 rating. You can't see a whiff. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But a blacked out drunk man seeking revenge, fine.
That's Hollywood, baby.
They
Yeah.
love the drunks.
You get another beautiful scene of how sweet Fezzik is here, just taking care of him, nursing him back to health,
Yeah.
making him a little soupy.
He's a big teddy bear.
Yes.
And I'm sure he probably doesn't like, being compared to that. R.I.P. We love you. But that's what he is in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sadie was like, isn't he from North Carolina? I was like,
Is he?
he's from France.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, that accent's not Southern.
Did
Turns
he
out
live in
he
North
lived out his
Carolina?
days. Yeah, it turns out he lived out his days in like a on a ranch in the middle of North Carolina, like
Oh
middle of
my,
nowhere.
they put him in a farm out in the country?
Yeah,
Jeez.
he said it was the only place he's truly happy, so good for him.
Oh, okay. North Carolina can claim Andre the Giant. He's
I always
theirs.
hear I always hear his doc is like incredible, the documentary on him, but I haven't watched it yet. Everyone says how good it is.
I've watched parts of it, and it's very good.
Maybe if we ever do
Yeah,
a series about documentaries.
it's pretty tragic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quite. It's a heavy watch.
Oh, come on.
I got it.
They continued you got back to Wesley continuing to be tortured and just they crank it up because Humperdinck starts to get jealous of him and he screams so loud that they hear him out in the forest. They find I don't even know what the guy's name is. The albino?
The albino
Oh,
in the
yeah.
credits, that's all it said.
Yeah.
The albino? Yeah, they knock him out. Inigo Montoya has a nice moment where his sword leads him to the knot in the tree that lets you down there. And then they bring him to the moment we've all waiting for, the best scene in this movie.
You've said that 4 times.
No, I've gone second, third, and maybe second again.
You came straight for the throat. My God.
Let the record show. I've been saving best for this.
All right, we're gonna need to roll the tapes on that one. Let's hear it.
Yeah, you're gonna overlay me saying best scene over and over again right here.
best
Put you in a
scene?
bubble in the corner.
Well, they bring him to Miracle Max, and Billy Crystal and Carol Kane both just bring their absolute fastest fastball here. They're throwing heaters this whole scene. Billy Crystal is incredible as Miracle Max.
Wasn't he uncredited for a while in this? And people were like, that's just Billy Crystal? Or am I crazy?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was something with a contract where he didn't want to like take up too much of the movie budget, so he had to be uncredited. It was something weird with the money involved, but yeah, imagine. I mean, just watching this movie for the first time, I can't even imagine what your opinion of Miracle Max is here because It's so in a movie that has a lot of outlandish things, he's so outlandish and so over the top.
Yes, it was. I didn't recognize Billy Crystal at all. Would have never known in 1,000 years if I didn't. And Carol Kane too would not
Yeah.
have recognized her in this. Um, yeah, I don't know why I'm surprised you said this was your favorite scene. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. I don't know why it took me by surprise that it was. Yeah, they are hysterical. When she came out is when I really started laughing. That his wife was just back there the whole time, and then decided that it was time to insert herself because her husband was being so dumb that she had to speak on his behalf. And then the minute he hears it's to hurt Pumperdink,
Oh,
Pumperdink.
Pumperdink, you've got to Pumperdink.
Oh, Pumperdink, you've got to.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Just that he changes his mind instantly and helps them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, such is the
I-
influence of a woman, you know?
I have so many quotes from this part. Immediately when he walks in, he lifts up his arm and just drops it flat, and he just goes, "I've seen worse."
Yeah. Oh, I was dying at he's mostly dead.
There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. And then maybe my favorite line. I know I've definitely said that a bunch of times, but he goes, "Oh, I love an MLT, a mutton lettuce tomato sandwich when the mutton is lean and the tomato is ripe."
Hint for what I'm gonna be making this week.
Whoa!
Oh my god, we literally had BLTs last night. I didn't even think about it. It was. It's so funny the way he's talking about the food. He's just playing like a modern Jewish caricature in this like ancient doctor role. Not
In the
even like witch doctor.
costume.
Yeah. And then as you talked about, when Carol Kane comes out and she just keeps yelling, "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife." It's so fucking good. And then just to top it all off at the very end, "Have fun storming the castle, boys."
Yeah. Oh.
All right, I
Really?
retract what I said. This is the best scene.
It's so good.
It just keeps you laughing from start to finish. It's so good.
There could be no context to it at all, and it could just be a sketch, and it would be just as good.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
clip that and say it's an SNL sketch. People would believe you.
It'd be and you'd be dying.
Yeah.
Wesley's back alive now because they gave him the chocolate-coated miracle pill. And they start to scheme up a plan. It's very funny when they're like, "This is all we got," and the other things that they have are the two things he names.
Yes.
And they're just like, he's like, "Why didn't you tell me you had these things?" You're like, "Why the fuck would we think to tell you we had a wheelbarrow and a giant cape?"
That might be my favorite line of the movie when Andre the Giant pulls out the cape and he's like, "It fits so nice. He gave it to me."
He gave it to me, yeah. Oh my god. I keep saying this is like potentially the most quotable part of the movie, but then you get to marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
And you know what? I love this. If I hear this at one more goddamn wedding, I'm gonna lose my mind.
It's a testament. It's a testament to the movie, but it's brutal.
It is, and it's a great scene that I feel like honestly its quality is diminished by how often it's just joked about at weddings today.
Yeah.
I've never heard it at a wedding.
Oh my god. Maybe it's just theater people that I've just been to so many weddings for. I don't know. Well, Emma, you know theater people though.
Do you think it's a curse to bring it up at a wedding? Because this marriage doesn't happen.
Listen, I couldn't tell you. I just go, I hear it and I go,
Again.
I hear it and I go, marriage, that blessed arrangement, that
Yes.
dream within a dream, that love, true love. will forever and forever so treasure your love.
Now see, hilarious. I'm not at a
Not
wedding.
in the wedding. Jinx.
It's one of those things that, like, when it comes on screen, there's no way not to laugh at it. Like, the
Mhm.
way he commits to that bit is so incredible.
Yeah. It
Whose
almost
idea
feels
was the
like,
accent?
well, I don't know whose idea it was. Feels like he's gonna swallow his tongue at any moment. It feels like that tongue is too big for his mouth, and he's trying to talk around it.
100%. It's like, how do you even make that decision that that's gonna be what the scene looks like and sounds like?
It feels like he has Alzheimer's and someone gave him a piece of paper and said, "Read it." And not saying like no, like my grandma could speak perfectly with Alzheimer's, but I'm just saying his general confusion
His demeanor, yeah.
was the vibe it was giving dementia.
It's giving dementia, darling.
It's
And as if it's not apparent enough how ridiculous he sounds, you've realized the whole movie that Andre the Giant, clearly sounds way different than everyone else. It cuts right back to him just going, "I am the Dread Pirate Robert."
Yeah. I remember the first time I watched this, and I just audibly went, "Huh?"
This is
Huh?
so Monty Python, this
Yeah.
part in particular.
The idea, I always forget the little cut to Inigo Montoya trying to push the wheelbarrow with Wesley like draped on his back. It's so funny. He's just like pouring sweat. But it works, and they get into the castle. The wedding at this point has been stopped because the castle's being invaded. And
Casual.
Inigo Montoya finds the Six-Finger Man,
Yeah.
and they split up, and he starts chasing him.
Yep.
That scene, you kind of know how, like, blindly he's chasing the guy that it's not gonna go well, just, like, the way he's far enough behind him for him to do something, and how, like, he's just r racing into rooms without thought.
Mhm.
But I always remember this scene as he turns a corner, stops, and then stabs him, not crosses a room and throws a knife into his stomach.
It feels so much less plausible as
It's
you get
wild.
older.
He could have literally just, like, hid to the side of a doorway and just, like, popped out. He ran
He
into
said
the
it.
center of the room.
I love that gag though. That's so funny.
Oh, it's so good. Um, they all kind of get split up because Fezzik helped him knock a door down and then left Wesley, who then snuck away. So you kind of have everybody sparsed out throughout the castle. Sparsed out? Is that a? I make that up? Parsed out?
I don't really know.
I can't.
It could
Spaced
go either
out?
way.
Spaced
out
out's
works.
probably correct, and sparse.
They made
Who's to
themselves
say?
sparse.
Yeah.
Okay, they spread out. We'll go with that.
There you
Um,
go.
So it's really sad to me here when Fezzik gets back to pick up Wesley again and he's alone. Feels like he's so devastated by this
I
part.
know.
But then you get Buttercup about to commit the most insane suicide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Again, another huh moment for me.
Literally about to stab herself in the tits, and then Wesley goes, "It'd be a shame if you stabbed yourself in the tits." What? What a crazy way to stop somebody from killing themselves is telling them, like, he was literally like, "No, you're so sexy, don't kill yourself."
Babe, no. How are we
He
gonna
was like,
fuck if
"Ew."
you're dead?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, your breasts are so nice, don't stab yourself there."
It's how Romeo and Juliet should have ended.
Yeah. And they would have lived happily ever after if he could have just saved her boobs.
No, you're so sexy. Don't kill.
No.
Oh, Buttercup.
Oh my god, no, your boobs though.
How am I gonna?
Oh my god.
So at this point, Wesley is still pretty incapacitated from being mostly dead, and then
Mostly dead. Yes.
we get the cut back to probably outside of Mowage, probably the most quoted and famous scene in this movie, which, like we said, is kind of just the payoff of a side plot. Um, they could have found another way into the castle that didn't involve like a really long version of a guy seeking revenge for his dad's death, but that's how they went with it, and I don't think anybody has any problems with it.
It's an
Uh,
ensemble movie.
it is, but it's truly shows that Mandy Patinkin is in this scene like a way better actor than everyone else in this movie. 'Cause he's like
Yeah.
actually acting here, and in the whole movie, no one else is really actually acting outside of like just looking hot sometimes or looking big or whatever their
Yeah.
role is.
Their one characteristic.
Yeah, they just played their whatever their characteristic is.
Yeah.
It's just
And
him
then
and child Fred Savage acting.
Yeah.
um so he's got the knife in his stomach, and I think we all know the gradual build of hello, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
another great line, not a funny line, but a great delivery that he has here is he's like making him beg for his life. He's telling him to, you know, say you'll give me money, say you'll give me this, say you'll give me that. And the guy's like, "What do you want?" Before he kills him, he goes, "I want my father back, you son of a bitch."
It's the cadence of son of a bitch that
Son of a
always
bitch.
it always does
Um,
it. I love it.
it's so good. Uh, we get the payoff there. He kills him, and then, well, at first he cuts his face the same way that he has the scars on his face, and then he kills him. Uh,
Mhm.
and then we get Humperdinck back in the room with Wesley and Buttercup. He breaks in. Uh, this is kind of the whole movie payoff of the Dread Pirate Roberts being more feared than anything else. His reputation precedes him because at this point Wesley can't do anything physically
Mhm.
except for stand up, and that alone is enough to get Humperdinck to sit in the chair. They tie him up, and then Fezzik shows up with the white horses.
And yeah.
Yep. And I thought it was so rude of Inigo Montoya to say, "You actually did something right." And I'm like, Fezzik's been helping you this whole time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he hates him.
It was so rude.
It is, but Fezzik takes it on the chin.
Yeah, he's not offended
He's unbothered, truly.
because he's an angel.
He is. He's on a different plane of existence than the rest of us in good person territory.
Yeah, truly.
It is very funny that he's just like, I found these 4 white horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I thought we might need him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, guys,
Um,
should we like take these somewhere? I just found them out back.
will these help?
The way Buttercup jumps from that window is
I was gonna say another scene of her just launching herself through the air.
Just has no care for her body at all.
and she was a fairy.
She was a fairy.
I would love to know. I'd love to know what you guys rate this movie at this point in your life. Give me a score out of 13.
I, I would go probably 10 out of 13 because I did see it as an adult. And I think that some of the love for the movie comes from nostalgia, but less than others. Like, I do think more than other super nostalgic movies, this is pretty enjoyable to watch at any time. I do wish I'd watched it with other people, or like if we had all been able to watch it together, I think that probably would have bumped its score up for me. But I definitely loved it and I will watch it again in my lifetime. at some point. But yeah, I probably 10 out of 13 just for those factors. But I thought it was a pretty fantastic movie.
I think I would give it probably an 8.5, but that's because I feel like over my lifetime I've been working from the opposite direction of not really loving it as much, and now
Mhm.
like having more appreciation for it as I get older. Like I feel like if you would have asked me when I was, I don't know, 6 or 7, I would have said I don't give a shit about this movie. But like you asked me when I was like 14, I would have said like I'd give it like a solid 5. So now I'm like I'm moving up the scale more and more.
Yeah,
So I'm
gaining
on my
appreciation.
way.
Yeah, because when you were young, you didn't care about how hot Carrie Ellis and Robin Wright were. Now it's very important part of the plot.
Correct. It's super important.
I just want a
Nick.
clip of I want a clip of Emma playing into my hands perfectly there and giving it a 10.
Oh, you tricked me.
I listened, I tried to get you, but you said 10 out of 13 every time you said it, so
Yes.
you got away with it. I was like,
That's still a
"Nope."
very high rating.
Oh yeah,
It
definitely.
is. It is.
I was just like, how can I get one of them to say it's a 10? Yeah, I mean, this movie is so incredibly nostalgic for me as like is very apparent throughout this pod. But I don't even know how I could rate it. It's just like a part of my being. It like
Mhm.
defines my sense of humor, I think, at times.
Mhm.
Not even quoting it, just like the actual humor that they use, I feel like was so much of like influence on anything I say.
Mhm.
Um
Mm.
I don't have I usually have a couple of like side notes that I put at the bottom here of stuff that stood out to me, but I don't really have many for this movie because like I said, it's just like everything kind of plays out the way I expect it to.
Mhm.
The one topic we did hit was I always think there'll be more of Vizzini in this movie, and then he's just gone, like, very early on. You
Yeah.
kind of expect him to come back the way other characters do, and he doesn't,
Mhm.
because you don't really see him, like, for sure dead, but he's pretty dead. Um,
Mostly
Mostly.
dead.
yeah, and then, we talked about it, how just the same thing with Fred Savage and the grandpa is, like, a huge part of the movie that you just kind of, like, forget about as you watch it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you didn't even mention it again after the beginning in your recap.
No, because like
Do we need to? I mean,
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the point. Like it wasn't even necessary.
the grandpa is, like, a great narrator when he's, like I almost want more of his voice narrating it as you go through it.
it was
Mhm.
Peter Falk, wasn't it?
It was,
Yes.
I don't know him.
Hold on, hold on,
No,
hold
name
on.
sounds familiar, but can't name a movies, man.
Columbo, Princess Bride, Undisputed. Yeah, not many, but I remember him from Columbo because he
Hold
is Columbo.
on. Remember him for his namesake.
Yeah.
Alright. This is it, guys. Who's the hottest in this movie, and why is it Peter Falk?
Jesus.
It's just like The Mummy. There's like a tie, But there's
Well,
a
I
third
think we know
also.
Nick's answer
Yeah, we
because
do.
he was very forward with it at the beginning of this episode.
I don't know, it's like you said, like, there's no right answer. There's certainly wrong answers. There's no right answer.
What do you
Um
mean, Wallace Shawn is or Viserys, whatever his name is, isn't your hottest?
I think the only one that I would accept outside of the 2 would maybe be Inigo Montoya, but
Yeah.
even then, I feel like yeah, I'll go with Wesley.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
And I'll
honestly
go
think
with Buttercup.
if she stepped up
Ooh.
more with the Rouse, she would have had a better claim. She gave me the ick when
Yeah.
she didn't attack that giant rodent.
That was you're right. You're right. I don't know. I just think that scene, she is so breathtaking in the scene where she's in the red dress riding the horse. So I'm gonna say her for this one.
Hmm. I'm still torn, honestly, between Inigo Montoya and Wesley.
Mhm.
And Nico
Because
there was 3. He was in that rotation for me too.
Yeah. It's
Who is it gonna be?
again though.
Kristen?
It's just so funny that it's Mandy Patinkin.
I know. Would you
That's
say Emma?
that's what stops it. Who's it gonna be? You have to choose.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I would choose Wesley in the end, but that's only because I really wasn't digging Inigo's hairstyle the way I was digging
Mhm.
Wesley's.
It's a tough
The
cut.
hair.
It really is. It's the texture. As someone with thick frizzy hair, sorry, I don't want that.
Do something with it.
Do something. Put some product in there, please.
I will be returning to cooking videos this week, finally, and I will be doing a BLT in honor
Woo!
of the MLT.
It's great. It's a great time of year for the BLT to make a return too.
Mm-hmm.
It's all falling into place. It's all coming together.
The essence of an MLT.
Yes, I'm not going to do mutton. I'm sorry.
That I wouldn't expect you to.
What is mutton?
Is it
Sheep?
lamb? Oh,
It
sheep.
is sheep.
Oh yeah.
Is it like sausage?
I think. Well, lamb is lamb, and mutton I
Mhm.
think is adult
Just the meat.
sheep. I think.
Adult.
The meat of a grown sheep.
I'm pretty sure, but I don't know for certain.
I think you're correct on that.
Okay.
That was mutton talk.
Hey guys, thanks for
mutton
tuning in to
barbecue.
Mutton Talk.
This week we'll be talking about mutton.
Join us next week for more mutton. Peace.
Do you guys have any final thoughts here on The Princess Bride?
I'm still. I feel like I'm like 80% on coming around to this as like the classic that it is. I think I always was a little like I always appreciated it, but never the way I thought I was supposed to. I feel like I'm finally getting there with this watch, especially. I was like, damn, what a great movie. Where have I been? You know?
I wonder if we'll be able, because I know like we're a generation removed from this movie. I wonder if we'll be able to show our kids this movie and have them enjoy it in any way, or if it's just going to be so far removed at that point that they're just going to be like, because like I said, the charm is kind of in it being outdated. But
I think the plot and the humor are enough. Like I think kids would still love
Mhm.
it watching it. Especially if you
Yeah.
show it to them young enough where they're not watching like so much modern stuff, you know?
Mhm.
yeah, where
And I
it's
mean,
not
Movies in general are still new to them.
when
Yeah,
it's not
movies like Airplane still track, you know, and that's real.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's old.
Or like Jurassic Park. I just think any kid would like that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that's like so stimulating. Like this movie does like compared to like what kids. I feel like what kids. I don't know. I don't want to go on a rant about kids these days, but I feel like it's all about like the visual stimulus of stuff that like I don't know holds kids' attention now, and I don't know that this movie does enough of that. And it might be too slow.
I get what you're saying. I do think the fairy tale aspect will always be timeless, though. I
That's
think
true.
that's where it has the leg up, as opposed to other movies of the time.
So
Should
you're
I
saying
test it
true
on my
love?
niece and nephew and see if they'll watch it?
Listen, I am maybe I am saying true love.
To blade. He clearly said to blade.
Way.
Guys,
who
I
wants
loved
to-
doing all of our like most watched movies in our life. This was a really fun series.
We'll never survive. Nonsense. You're only saying that because no one ever has. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Goodbye.
I know.
So long.